Hello, this is Sideways 8 again. I'm going to explain Hemlock Theory a little bit more. It is symbolized by Socrates' story of Socrates, where he ended up, due to a bunch of idiots and evil rulers, pressured this wise good man into committing suicide. It describes the process the Hemlock Theory in the story describes the Hemlock process. Now, what is the Hemlock process? Well, sages only want one thing: ideas that stand on their own merit. They care about other people, and they care about they care about improving the state of the world. Telsus is a good example of this. Socrates is a good example. Jesus, you will know me by the fruits. That's what they do. They say that you will know by the fruits. Buddha says if you follow my ideology, you will know it to be true. They do not at all whatsoever use bullying. They never use force, and they don't use or lies or deceive. They tell you this is water's wet, fire's hot, and snow's cold. They rely on what is self-evident to get you to follow them. Now, the Machiavellians, they are whatever brings them up, whatever life brings to them. If they have to deal with a bunch of sages in a population, they become accountable. It becomes a democracy. If they're dealing with a bunch of witless, they end up becoming like North Korea. The government becomes like North Korea. Machiavellians don't care. The Machiavellians, how they get power is they don't care whatever gives them power and rewards. They don't care about the validity. They only care about what works. So if they would have to be able to gain office by telling a convincing lie, they will. If they are in charge of an anti-vax group, anti-vaccination is a good example. A sage will try to convince the anti-vaxxers using evidence and try to get them to undo their damage and undo their belief. They'll walk away from this toxic and idiotic belief. A Machiavellian will try to be in charge of the anti-vaxxer, tell them what they want to hear, and then make money and try to encourage them to spread the idea of anti-vax so they can get more money and more wealth and more power. They are what the witless in the anti-vax crowd wants. And they don't care who it hurts. They exaggerate the pathos within the group to a fever pitch and beyond, because they know that when they do this, they get control. Now, the witless are basically the crowd where it says rather trade racists for rapists group. They are the flat earthers of the world. They are the anti-vaxxers. The more batshit crazy the idea, the more false the idea is, the more likely they are going to love it. Mental illness is like heroin. Depression is like heroin. It's not good for you, but you get addicted to it. A person can get addicted to it, and that's what these people are. And they care more about fitting in than what is best. They could see their own leaders or someone that is just like them or pretends to be like them rape someone and then say, oh, I didn't see it happen, and literally mean they didn't see it happen or would defend them. We've seen this in Gamergate. They will defend corrupt people and say it's for the right thing. Now, the Hemlock process is when the sages, Machiavellians, and witless all interact with each other. And over throughout history, you will see examples of this. And what happens is the witless do not like sages, and the Machiavellians don't care. They only care about who gives them what they want. And since it's usually the mob that has the most power, they end up appeasing the witless and then start punishing the sages. And the Machiavellians corrupt or destroy the ideas of the sages, which are designed to benefit humanity, and corrupt them in order to make them make humanity worse off as long as they can exploit their fellow man. Now, over time, what has happened, this has erased all the good ideas and has only left things that make things that seem like logic aren't really logic. You were born into this conditioning. You are under what I call false consciousness or an artifactic haze. If you were born in a society that truly preached 2 plus 2 equals 7, you would believe it's 2 plus 2 plus 7. And anyone was to show you otherwise, you would think they're crazy, stupid, and evil, and you would try to shut them down. Now we are seeing this. This Hemlock process, which I call sage erasure, happening right before our very eyes with the SJWs. Recently, if you look up gender fluid parents, you see gender fluid parents trying to raise their kids to explore their gender. Recently, a child was taken away from her mother because of this shit, because it was deemed mentally unhealthy and as abuse. We see women holding up racist, would trade racist for rapist. What kind of insane person does it? An insane person, a racist person. And then we see where, any type of criticism of corruption and Gamergate, and also with Hillary Clinton as sexist, racist, and all that. You don't want to support Hillary, not because of the corruption, because you hate gay people, because you hate black people. That's the saying. Now what happens is that you see the Witless, which is a group of idiots, insane, dishonest, mean, nasty idiots, who are through sheer numbers and through sheer will are pushing their narrative on other people. They're pushing it into society. And what's going to happen is they're going to have children. A lot more children than the sages will. And what will happen is all this insane shit will seem to be good sense. And what will happen is these abusive, emotionally, psychologically damaging ideologies will be seen as healthy and will be pushed as healthy, when the opposite is true. And when you're born in this state of familiarity where everything makes sense, just by the sheer virtue of virtuality doesn't mean virtuality. Anyone who is able to look from the outside in with a sane point of view is seen as evil, wrong, insane, racist, stupid, when the opposite is true. And the only way to counter this is to ask yourself, what if I'm a victim of artifact haze? How am I know that I'm not living in a society that has suffered from sage erasure? Because you are. Because this has happened before. A gaggle of idiots overwhelmed, enforced their narrative on other people, erased anything that didn't appeal to their fancy, which was anything a lie, that wasn't helpful. The racist with rapist thing, yeah, that's a good example of that. So the question is, if you are living in a condition where sage erasure has happened over and over again, where you are thinking where water is dry and fire is cold, and you don't know better, then maybe that's time to think everything is wrong and time to start anew.